So,
Westmoreland Dogman coming at you.
You just jump right
I'm
into
just
that.
teasing. No, just.
Well, first of all, welcome to part 2 of our 2-part paranormal series. Normally at this point in the show, we do a callback to the previous episode. I mean, this entire episode is going to be a callback and then some. So, where do you want to start?
I would like to start with saying that the Steelers gave one hell of an effort today, and that Justin Fields answered a lot of questions and asked some more questions. So we're left with nothing. Yes. But what do we have on the list to call back this episode?
Sorry, Steelers fans.
Yeah, sorry.
It's because he didn't take the terrible towels down today. He forgot. I'm blaming it on you. We can start with the Claires, I guess. Get that list out of the way real quickly, because that's a full-on touch bag. Or do you want to tell? Jim's story about Lake Linganore Street? I say Lake Linganore.
Well, my thing is not. Why is it doing this?
What's it doing?
I don't know. Oh my god.
Yeah, I don't think I like it up that high.
All right, do you just want to start over?
Yeah, let's start over.
Okay.
I'll keep the Steelers intro in there, but I'll cut to whatever.
No, you don't have to. It's fine. All right.
All right, what? Where were we starting?
Well, no, okay, so what do we have? Where's the part about things we have to touch back on, though?
I mean, pretty much all of it is like intertwined with the rest of it. So the two key touchbacks are the Claires, the list of Claires. I'll just go into that.
Yeah, go into the list of Claires, please.
So,
the Claires.
The Claires.
I'm with you, as in I'm Claire Gustins. Although I'm the opposite of Claire Gustins things. Claire Gustins is the ability to taste without having eaten. I'm going through the opposite of that, where I'm tasting things I've previously eaten.
Otherwise known as heartburn.
Yeah, or something like that.
So there's a whole list of Claires, and I was wrong on some of them. So clairvoyance is information through vision. So voyeur vision. And
I'm with
so somebody who's clairvoyant usually sees pictures that they can associate. I think Tyler Henry might be clairvoyant when he's a medium. Some people see pictures.
I think that's debatable, based on what he was saying the last time. It's a tough time.
Claircognizance is one of the ones that I have. It's clear. Sorry. So claircognizance is one of the ones that I have, which is clear knowing. That's the one I really struggle with at work, because like, how do I explain to my boss that I know something without? It's like showing the work in math. Like, I can't.
Right.
I just know.
Yeah, certain things people just have a knack for being able to eyeball it.
Mm-hmm.
That's where the term eyeball comes from. Little fact there for you.
That's true.
It's definitely not. Claire aliens. That's where you think you're an alien.
So I took that off of a website directly, did not change it. They spelled it wrong because it didn't sound right to me. It's Claire salience.
I like Claire aliens better, because that means that you see aliens.
I do. I mean,
Claire aliens.
I've never seen an alien.
You'd be like, are you clairvoyant? No, I'm Claire aliens.
I'm
they're like, what's that?
An alien.
And they're like, oh, I see aliens. Hi, I'm Myrna.
No, Claire salience is one of the other ones that I wrote.
Claire tangency.
Hold on a second. Let's talk about it. So Claire salience is the heightened ability to smell things, even phantom smells. So we talked about that in the
like
last
bears.
episode. You smell bears.
No, but I'm saying bear's smell is like 6,000 times more powerful than a human.
Oh, then yeah, I'm part bear. Clairaudience, obviously, is hearing audible sounds from, well, the non-obvious part is other realms. I don't know if that's obvious or not, but clairaudience is hearing sounds. So, like, people who have clairaudience can hear music like we did. But I think that music was like a ghost pattern.
Yeah, I don't think that just because you do something
doesn't mean you have
that ability. Just because we heard like a phantom noise doesn't mean that we suddenly have this ability. We just happen to. This is more if you can have the ability to, not necessarily on command, but have the ability to do it outside of, like, repeatedly.
Right.
Repeatedly, not just isolated incidents, because
it's a heightened ability. It's not just like a flash, because the flash is...
It's an ability. It's not a circumstance.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, it's... Those things happen to us. We didn't have the ability to hear it.
Right. That's exactly right.
You know.
That's a great
what we're referencing is when we heard music playing that we couldn't figure out the source of.
Right.
In one of our previous homes. That didn't mean that we were clairaudience. Although I would like to say next time that I'm doing stand-up, I'm going to be like, please don't be just an audience. Be a clairaudience.
Oh my God.
Please be a clairaudience.
Okay, so you wanted to jump down to clairtangency.
Well, I'd like to talk more about clairgustance.
Oh yeah,
Clairgustamante.
You just want to say that word.
Clairgustamante.
I like it.
Clairgustamante.
Mucho gusto.
Clairgustance. Is it? How is it? Is it clairgustance?
Gustance. Yeah.
Or gustance? Gustance.
I think it's gustance because it's something to do with
clairgustance. Is it clairgustance?
No. No, but it's about
Clairiral. Oh no, I'm looking at the wrong one. Clairgustance.
I wonder.
Just so somebody that's listening knows what we're talking about. Is it gustance, gustance, or clairgustance?
No, it's not. No.
Clairgustance.
Stop doing that.
That sounds like a
You're
German.
hurting my brain.
That sounds like a German word. Be like, he's acting very clairgustance.
Clairgustance.
Hitler took a very strong clairgustance.
I mean, technically he did because he was starving.
Very clairgustance.
So I wonder if that's where the term "go for the gusto" comes from.
Gusto. Go for the gusto is what I like to do.
Nobody says that though. It's
You're acting like a real silly gusto.
Okay, so clairtangency.
Mm-hmm.
This is what a lot of mediums do to get like a feeling.
Tangerine. Is that where the same word comes from?
No, tangent.
Tangible.
Yeah.
Tangerine.
Touch. Yes. No. Tangerine something.
I bet it's got something to do with it. Tango probably comes from the same word.
It takes two. So it's the gift of touch, basically, which sounds really gross. I've got the gift of touch. Sounds like something Joe Biden.
I've got the gift of clairtangency. Clairtangency. I've got the gift of clairtangency. That sounds like an Irish allergy. I've got clairtangency. Picks me up some of that clairtangency from the store. That wasn't whatever.
That was more Scottish than Irish, but
still,
I'll take it. But yeah, like, you know, what's her name? What was that Warren lady's name? The Warrens.
Diane. I'm on fire today, buddy. I tell you.
Diane Warren is a singer.
I know she's a singer. She's one of the most talented songwriters in history.
She's very clairaudient. No, Lorraine Warren. I think she was clairtangent.
Right, that was Ed.
Yeah, Ed and Lorraine.
Yeah, Ed and Lorraine.
We got a crier. Who's crying?
Gray.
Oh, she's such a bitch. We're almost through them. Oh, this is the last one, and this is the one that I have the most. So, I have
clairsentience.
Clairsentience.
I like to speak in very clear sentences.
I'm a sentient. What is a sentient being? I don't want to say that out loud if I'm not.
It's like when AI comes to life.
Oh, yeah.
It feels. That's what it is. It's like when you feel, because that's what sentient means. It's like if you say that the AI became sentient, it means that it has feelings. It's like has consciousness.
Chappie.
Aww, great movie, by the way.
Chappie. So I am clairsentient, and so that means. Why are you making that face? Chappie, no.
That haircut, though, that guy, those South African white rappers.
Oh my god!
It was very bizarre.
Very bizarre.
Very weird. Ninja.
I love their accents, though. It's almost like they have. So that South African accent, it's almost like they have a computer in the back of their.
It's fun.
It's like they click
it's
like.
It's a fun accent.
I'm gonna have to do that. I'm gonna have to learn that accent. So clairsentience, that's what I am, and I am a fucking emotional bowl of jello most days, which is why I stay away from people, because the more people I'm around, the more feelings I feel in me, no leggy feely. Can we get rid of this cat? Throw it outside. Sure to eat chicken.
Probably not. She'll back off in a minute.
Oh, is that Sal-Bell? So, also speaking about the last show.
Slasher.
Oh, yeah. I totally forgot about that. Thank you. So, if you all remember or not, I called upon the demon spirit Lasher to do my bidding. And
I think you told the story.
Yeah, I did tell the story, but what I forgot to tell you all is that, so then...
I got her. Maybe.
Hi, honey buddy. You want to go on the camera for a minute? You want to say hi? I'm getting ready to talk about Lasher and then my most... So this is Sally Owens, named after Practical Magic, Sally Owens, and she just wants to be here with us. Maybe. She got her hair on my face.
All right.
Cool. Now I got cat hair stuck to my lips. I'm gonna hit that.
No.
Oh, so what was I talking about? Oh.
You were talking about B. Arthur.
Don't be too wild on your tangents. It's not. Last night was comedy. Today's podcast.
It's got to be funny too.
A little bit. So the next day after I had that experience where I believe there was a dark shadow in my room, my ex-husband called me to ask me if I had been near his girlfriend's house. I hadn't, but I asked why, of course. And it was because she had just gotten her Eagle Talon out of the paint shop, gotten a brand new paint job, and somehow there was he said there was human feces smeared all over it.
Human feces.
Yeah. Pup. I don't know how he knew that it was human and not dog or horse.
Or snallygaster or something else with talons.
I know. And it was down near Maryland, that part of Maryland. It could have been.
Could have very well been.
Could have been.
But that brings us to the snallygaster. Cryptids. We love cryptids. We love cryptids.
So it's fall wedding season, which I am overjoyed about. And last year, I swear we've been to a Halloween wedding every single year for like.
I think this was like 3 years ago.
It was 2.
Was it?
I don't think it was the first year we moved up here, but I could be wrong.
When did they get married?
Bryce and Ellie, how long have you been married?
Regardless.
Fall weddings, I love them. We were at a fall wedding. We decided we were going to drive around Frederick, hanging out.
A fall wedding in Frederick, Maryland.
Yeah. And so we were just killing time between whatever events were going on. And what's that little town that I love that's really quaint and artsy? It puts me in the mind of Penmar or my brain wants to say Burkittsville, which is a whole different
that's
thing.
not nice.
It's definitely not.
That's just a little strip of houses.
Yeah, it's not Burkittsville. And it's not Walkersville, but it's out around there. And it's where they had that. It's where the Snallygaster originated. So I was doing research on that town.
Middletown?
It's Middletown, but there's a little tinier town.
There's tinier towns around it.
Yeah,
I don't know which one you're talking. We'd have to look at a
Middletown.
map.
But there's a lot of
There's a lot of good towns out that way.
really cute old. It looks like it puts me in the mind of what like Nantucket would have looked like in the 1890s. You know, I don't know why that's where my brain goes, but it's like those.
What's Nantucket look like now?
Modern beach homes.
I don't know anything. Where is Nantucket?
Rhode Island.
Rhode Island.
Up that way somewhere. I'm like this because we're in. This is my logic. We live in Pennsylvania, so Nantucket is that way. If I'm looking at a map.
Up there.
Up there. So the Snallygaster, interestingly enough, was used by what's that lady's name? J.K. Rowling. She wrote about
Right. Well, she created like a fictional thing named the Snallygaster. Basically, back in the old days, though, it was a big bird.
Right.
It was a big giant bird, a thunderbird, coming to get you.
Yeah.
Thunderbirds have been reported to have been seen all over Pennsylvania. The Bryn Mawr Beast, or whatever it's called,
Right.
out by Philly, or whatever. Right. A long history of big giant. I mean, all over the United States.
I mean, and you could actually even lump the Mothman in with those.
It's a giant bird thing.
Right. It's a
something
giant,
with wings.
Something with wings that has big eyes and
snatches people.
Talons.
I don't think the Mothman ever snatched nobody, though.
No.
These birds snatch people. That's what they're known for.
The Mothman was just a doomsayer.
Right. He's like a harbinger.
Harbinger. I love it.
Harbinger of doom.
It's such an evil word, but it sounds
very
pretty. It reminds me
Harbinger of doom.
Harbinger reminds me of Harlequin. Like
Harlequin.
Harlequin romance novels. I love those
perhaps.
words. So
Snallygasters, but yeah, my family probably did them. They probably got them.
Well, no, because it started with German folklore in that valley of Maryland, where
my family's from, and they're
right?
Germans.
Exactly.
Those bastards were Germans.
I think they're the ones that started the Snallygaster rumors, and I can actually see Mary Wetzel Reed.
Now, long before that. But I could see some of the people that were down there, some of the...
You can see how the folklore was heavily passed through the...
Oh, big time. And my grandma used to tell me stories, not about big giant birds snatching people out of the sky, but various cryptid-like phenomena. You know what I mean? Mythical creatures that roam the woods.
Right. Well, again...
And forest.
They, like, you think of Grimm's fairy tales... Those came over here from over there, and they all have mystical creatures.
Where there's forest, people are going to make up stories about beasts being in them forests. And there's lots of forests.
Yes.
When they brought the forest of Europe, when they brought those stories over, they put them right in Pennsylvania instead.
I love it. Well, Pennsylvania has some gorgeous forests. Forests.
Yeah, exactly. Doesn't Vania mean woods?
It does.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it's like,
and water.
or forest or
right?
whatever.
right? So anywhere there's woods and anywhere there's water, pretty much anywhere there's earth, there's
right.
mythical creatures.
Let's be real. They're always like, where there's forest. Well, I mean, granted, there's not forest everywhere, but there's a lot of fucking forest.
And there's a lot of mythical creatures.
And there's a lot of mythical creatures.
And Pennsylvania is home to quite a few.
A long history of mythical creatures.
Yes.
We got Dogmans, and right nearby here, there's a big Bigfoot thing. People really see Bigfoot here in Western Pennsylvania. Western Pennsylvania is actually like a hot spot. Again, we talked about the connectivity between Bigfoots, cryptids, UFOs, hauntings, because just like at Skinwalker Ranch, they experience poltergeist activity, creatures, UFO sightings, all sorts of
illnesses.
High strangeness. Do you know who coined that term?
I don't.
J. Allen Heinrich, I believe is the guy's name. I'm going to tell you who he is.
While you're looking it up, I'm going to thank you, Giant Eagle, for this amazing cup. It's effing awesome. It keeps my ice as cold as a Yeti, as good as a Yeti. And if you have the sheets, or the giant sheets, I hate sheets. If you have the Giant Eagle discount card, it was only $12.49.
Yeah, J. Allen Hynek is the guy that coined that term. So he was originally...
Not to be confused with Heimlich.
So he was involved with the, I don't know who was in charge of Project Blue Book, whether it was like the CIA, FBI, somebody in the government. Project Blue Book was like the thing where they were like investigating UFOs. J. Allen Hynek worked for the government, and then he became like the leading UFO researcher. He actually consulted on Close Encounters of the Third Kind. The reason Steven Spielberg even knew what to do was because J. Allen Hynek was like the consultant, and actually in the movie, he's like the one that first goes up to the ship to greet the aliens.
I could watch that movie.
But
I love that movie.
He also coined the term, I believe, close encounter. So, and he wrote a book about, like, he went from being like the government thing, and he must have seen like so much to it that he like started to believe the people or whatever, and kind of started working for the other side, I guess you could say.
I like it. I love conspiracies. But we will get to UFOs. We're going to talk about cryptids for just another minute. So I didn't look into this one, but there's something called the Waterford Sheep Man. And it's a humanoid that's covered in horns, kind of like...
Whoa, that sounds scary.
What's that movie, Role Models? It's like the Minotaur.
Right.
No, I'm just making that up. It just, I mean... But it terrorized Waterford in the 1970s.
Where's Waterford? Somewhere in Pennsylvania.
I'm going to guess that it's over by Philly. I could be wrong. But
that's a great guess.
I have clear cognizance.
That's a great guess, not clear geography.
I don't have clear geography. No.
I have Claire Carmen San Diego.
I have Claire Where's Waldo. Speaking of water, like I said, you've got Raystown Ray, who's very much the Loch Ness of central Pennsylvania.
Right. Every lake's got a monster. I mean, that's everywhere in the United States.
And they probably really do, like humongous fish that have survived. But
Maybe.
Raystown is self-made. It's man-made, right. So how...
I mean, kind of. It's a flooded river is what they call it. It's a man-made lake. It's a dammed river. So it is natural, like, in the sense of, like, there was water there. But they, like, falsify the levels because they dam it up and then it just gets big. That's how they get the lake.
Right.
So it's man-made in a sense, but it's... Was there a giant river beast there before is the real question, I think you have to ask yourself. Who could forget the squonk?
I love that
The name. 8-boy. We talked about Bryn Athen.
Bryn Athen.
What did I say?
Yeah, you said that.
Bryn Athen?
Yeah, you didn't say Bryn Mawr. That's not even in Pennsylvania. Is that in Pennsylvania?
I have no idea.
But you said
all these Bryn words. I don't even know what that means. Stop using that. BRYN. What kind of word is that?
I think it's Irish.
Well, that tells you a lot about it.
Hi, your boss might be listening.
That's not an insult. I'm just saying.
So here's one that I'd never heard of. Is there 2 broad tops in Pennsylvania?
There's probably a lot.
Because the broad top that I know is the one outside of Gettysburg.
Right. And right. So it's weird because it's broad top is one of those terms that's like South Mountain.
Right.
Do you know what I'm saying? It's like every region has like something they call that, because it's like people weren't that creative back in the day. They didn't know that there was going to be 19,000 broad tops by the time they got done. And they kept on going with it.
Yeah, I'm with you. What else?
The Dog Man of Westmoreland County. That's one of my favorites.
Oh, I mean,
oh
boy.
Wolfie. Wolfie. Roaming around. Actually, I will say this. We have seen a Sasquatch right here in town in Moxham. I've seen him walk into Bilo. I've seen him at karaoke.
Did you just fart?
Really bad. We're going to have to cut that out. Put a mark on there. Yeah, put a mark on there because I probably made a face and everything.
I'm leaving it.
No.
All right. Okay, so let's talk about... I don't even know how to say it.
Let's talk about the giggle goggle.
Yeah, I don't even know how to say it.
It's called Gawoggle. G-I-Woggle.
Gawoggle.
Gawoggle. Do the Gawoggle.
I don't even want to say it again.
I feel like that should just be a search engine to compete with Google. Gawoggle.
However, it's another one of those filthy creatures that does the bidding of witches.
The witches are always involved with people doing demons, witches, and bidding. They're all and cryptids. All things are doing bidding for witches, and they're using things around them to do their bidding. Demons, cryptids, foxfire.
It's crazy. So, one more callback real quickly, and then we're going to get into UFOs for a secundo.
Yeah.
So one of my favorite stories that you used to tell me is your dad's ghost story from Linganore.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, there's not a lot to that one.
No, but it's just so awesome.
No, Dad just was... And my dad's had a history of paranormal activity. One might say he's clairgustance. No. No.
I mean, these boys like to eat, but no.
No. I'm just saying he's had numerous paranormal things, but the scariest one that he always says is that he was at the top of I don't know if he heard a noise or something downstairs, and he went to the top of the stairs and was coming down the stairs, and there was a boy, and he said it was so super real. And then, he ran up the stairs and ran through him, and Dad said it was, real cold and real chilling, and he was, really freaked out about it. And then, come to find out that the neighbors... So it was half a house.
Right.
The neighbors were, experiencing, weird stuff there.
I love it.
But, yeah, very scary.
I love ghost stories.
I had a few sleep paralysis episodes in the basement where I heard things coming down the stairs and then opening my door and coming in and getting me, coming up between me and the mattress. You know what I mean? And it would be
that's scary.
Sleep paralysis. You never had that happen? I mean, I chalk it up to sleep paralysis because I woke up
I mean, there were a lot. I mean, I've had the dreams where I've been punching things and it felt like I was hitting pillows or whatever.
As somebody that's had numerous sleep paralysis dreams, it always involves something coming to you. Mm-hmm. I had it happen when I was a teenager at the house up in Greencastle. And it would be something in the basement, and I don't know what it was because I would never be looking.
Right.
And if it's gonna get me, I don't want to see it.
Right.
It always come. That one didn't come up between me and the mattress. That one just came over top of me, and then I woke up. I'd be sleep paralysis, and that would wake me up. And so that's how I knew it was just a dream. But it's weird how it always involves something coming to get you. That's why people think it's so real. Right. Maybe it is. Hell, I don't know.
I don't like my feet sticking out because I'm scared to death that something's going to touch my feet. I don't know why. It's irrational but I just don't want anybody touching my feet. If they're going to get me, they can get me through the blankets. I don't care.
What's weird, I guess, is the time that I've had some sleep paralysis, but I was just going to say that I used to be scared of like things like that. I think the more scared you are of it, I feel like the more likely it is to happen.
Well, I mean,
if that makes sense.
We're not going to unpack all this anytime soon, but in my dreams a lot, I was preparing for battle. So I was always doing feats of like craziness. Like one of mine was that in my dreams, I always was able to jump from the top of my stairs to the bottom step without getting hurt. And like, it was a recurring dream for me, and it was part of my getting away plan. So
I've flown a couple times. I love those dreams. Flying? You kidding me?
Well, I think
best.
The first time I flew, I realized that I didn't have a cape on, and I was like, what the fuck is this? You can fly without a cape. So when I was younger, my dreams had me believing that I was going to be like a superhero someday, but
I mean, I think that's what your dreams do.
I'm going to be a superhero. So UFOs, I'm going to dive into just because I am clairsalient does not mean I want to smell extra things. So my mom has been telling me this story for years. Stewie.
My mom's been telling me this story.
And she asked me not to say her name, even though anybody who knows me knows her name. So I'm not going to say her name, but my mom, to protect the innocent, someone who helped raise me. But it takes away from the story, so I have to tell it this way, right?
Yeah.
So my dad lived in Wimber, and my mom lived in Johnstown when they first started dating. So, like, she was hanging out at his house, and then she left his house to go back down to her parents' house. Now, she originally thought this was in 72, which wouldn't have coincided with my thoughts and dreams. But it was actually my dad believes it was in 74. So she left my dad's house and was coming down 219, and she saw a bunch of people pulled over.
We're at in 219.
She said outside of Solomon Homes, but that doesn't make sense because
that's not 219. That is 56.
Okay, so she was coming down 56.
Okay.
And
if you know the person we're talking about, this is a very common error.
So she was coming down. She said it was outside the Solomon Homes. And there was a bunch of people pulled over. So she pulled over to see why they were pulled over. And they were all looking at these lights up in the sky.
And this is way before Starlink. If somebody's seen lights in the sky, how many times will we watch these things people catch on camera?
Nowadays it's
Starlink. You can, there's a lot more shit in the sky nowadays, and which is why you get a ton of videos that are but this is the 70s. There's not a lot outside of airplanes, helicopters. I mean, that's pretty much it. I mean, not that they didn't have some satellites, but you get the idea.
No, exactly. So what would you say the commute from Wimber to Johnstown is? Maybe 20 minutes?
At the most.
I mean,
in heavy traffic.
Yeah, my mom's a good driver, and she's probably driving.
We'll say more 15 is probably more realistic.
But she came down the highway. Yeah, about 15 minutes to get from Wimber to Johnstown, where she lived.
Yeah.
When she got home, she called my dad, and he said, why did it take you 2 hours to get home? Now,
he thought she stopped off at the old illegal gambling den.
The old sugar shack.
The old illegal gambling den in the back of a laundromat.
Oh, what did
they probably had this back then.
Yeah, but remember that lady that did comedy in Pittsburgh that was from Johnstown? She was talking about the old dance.
The old dance hall.
The old band hall.
The old band hall.
But anyways, star something or other.
It doesn't matter.
Regardless of all this. So, my point of this story is that my mom doesn't believe that she was standing outside of her car for 2 hours. She thought
She was by herself.
She was by herself, but there were other vehicles.
Right.
Like
yeah.
family and like other people. So if it was any time between October 1st-ish of 1974 and July 17th-ish of 1975, then I may seriously be an alien baby.
I think she would remember if it was closer to your birthday, because that would be in the story. She'd be like, I was 8 months pregnant.
Right, exactly.
And I already wasn't feeling good. You know, your mom's stories.
Exactly.
And
but for real, if it was any time between October 1st and the end of November, which is likely, but not...
Right.
You're
an alien. You're clear alien.
I've been... How many days have I woke up and said, I don't think I belong here, I'm an alien?
Right. Which is also a thing that people think, but maybe they really are. That's the thing.
It's linked to autism now, so...
Well, maybe that's linked to aliens. So, there you go.
So, when I went to open my iPad, it was 5:23.
Whoa.
Is that my son telling me that I was an alien from the beginning?
You're an alien, baby. But it very well could be. But let's talk about alien abductions.
Yeah.
In the sense of, like, that's I can't even talk. That's a very common theme. Like your mom's story. Like it hits a lot of the point. Missing time. Like other people there, like don't really, you know what I mean? Don't really remember.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
right. All of that.
With lost, that's very common among, so the fact that the stories do have so much overlap with each other, it's like something's going on.
Right.
But like, what is it? I guess we don't really know, but.
Well.
I don't have any alien abduction stories. I don't know anybody that happened to. But you know that I did see me and our nephew. We were in Myrtle Beach, which is a huge hotspot.
Yes.
People there's been reports of UFOs being chased by fighter jets, because there's like, we do know
that one show in South Carolina.
Yeah, there's a Air Force base in South Carolina that does a lot of practice stuff, like out over the ocean and stuff there. So you see a lot of lights, but there's these reports. There's things that like what can and can't happen. Like what we saw was nothing.
People who study it know what's going on.
Yeah, what we saw was nothing like that. And we weren't the only ones there. You remember there's a small crowd there on the beach. We're watching these lights. They were like going into each other. They were like a bunch of lights. There was like one light. They were like in it. It was very weird. Doing lots of maneuvers.
It wasn't like one of those. It was on the ocean, so
it was way out there.
It was not one of those marquee things. That's like
it was way out in the ocean. Yeah. Like it was strange enough that there was a small crowd there watching this. Like what is that?
Right.
And we talked to other people, other locals that had seen stuff that was really crazy out there. Cameron still talks about it. I just mentioned his name like a dummy, but whatever. Who cares? He was in the Navy. And he told me that like he never saw anything when he was out on any of them ships. So the fact that he still, knows what we saw that day says a lot too.
Right, exactly.
Like,
because
he doesn't think that he's not like, oh, now I know what that was.
Right.
Or anything like that.
Right. Like, and I think he was, wasn't he like a weapons specialist for a while? So
I don't know, but he was out. He was out in a UFO hotspot out by San Diego, which is like where, the Nimitz incident happened, and the videos that the Pentagon released. That's where all that stuff happened.
Right.
Not all the only place. They also did release some that were out.
Not jets, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, they did release some videos that were out on the East Coast too. But the Nimitz was out by San Pedro Island, which is out by San Diego.
What's the Nimitz?
That's the one where they saw the thing coming in and out of the water. David Fravor, the fighter jets went after it. They were like chasing it and stuff. Yeah, very reliable. If a fighter pilot tells me something, these are people like Blue Angel guys.
Right.
These are the best pilots in the world flying the best machines in the world.
Right. And they take their jobs pretty fucking seriously.
Yeah, and if they tell me something was weird and they don't know what it was and it was defying everything that they know about flight, these guys are like aerospace engineers.
And they like are sometimes even like hesitant to talk about it because they don't want to be mistaken for...
Right, for sure.
Right.
And it's like people are like, oh, well, they do it for whatever. But like, what do you really gain by that? A couple History Channel interviews?
Right.
Like, it's not like maybe you get a book deal. Whoop-de-doo.
Right.
Like, it's not like you're making, like, it's not like you're set for the rest of your life if you start telling this UFO story.
And it's kind of a pain in the ass because you got
then you get bothered by you get bothered by people on both sides.
Right.
The people that are like, oh, I don't believe you, and then the people that like take it too far.
Right.
You know what I mean? That like.
And allegedly, you're putting your life at risk by even coming out, depending on who's.
Right.
Depending on who's monitoring the.
Speaking of UFOs, though, we have a very famous UFO incident that we've been to the spot where it happened, right near where we live. About, what's it take? About 45, 50 minutes?
Yeah.
45 minutes to get out there. Yeah, less than an hour to get out there. Kecksburg, very famous UFO incident here in Western Pennsylvania. And basically, back in 1965, these people saw a huge fireball, fall out of the sky, basically. And then they went and tracked it down. There was this thing like glowing in the woods. It was like acorn shaped, is what they said. And there's like
a statue,
yeah, there's like a statue of it out there. But every year they have a festival out there that's like a cryptid festival or it's just like a paranormal festival kind of. And they like, you go inside and like they have
fun.
Yeah, it's like at the fire grounds and they have like all kinds of vendors selling paranormal books and stuff. And
it's like a tiny baby rural Comic-Con for
paranormal.
UFO paranormal.
Well, because you can't even say UFO because most of it was
on this. But we bought this there. It's one of my favorite things that I've ever bought. It has fairy lights inside of it, so it glows, but I don't have the batteries.
But yeah, so the Kecksburg incident, very famous, and then the government supposedly came in and like shut it down and did all that. But that's right near here. We've been there. Very cool. Go check out. There's multiple documentaries on it. There's unsolved mystery episodes. It's out there. Kecksburg's very famous. It's like Pennsylvania's Roswell. Matter of fact, that might be what they call it.
They do call it that. It's crazy though because I'm not into like aliens per se. Like I know that I believe there are aliens. I just feel like we're ridiculous to think that we're the only sentient beings out there.
Right. Well, there's a lot of debate about what UFOs are.
Right.
Whether this is like beings from another dimension, whether this is beings from another planet, is it us in the future?
Right.
What is it? I don't know. I don't have an opinion one way or the other. I don't know. Like, obviously, I think there's UFOs. Like, I don't think that every single one is credible, like, story or whatever, but I do think that there's credible stories about things flying around that we have no idea what they are. And I do think there's credible stories about, like, cryptids, like, time jumping, like, dimensional creatures, or whatever you want to call it. And these stories have been told throughout time. Like, you know what I mean? Like, humans have always told these stories.
What was that Graham Hancock book that I read a long time ago? That was really good on...
that was about how people see the same things during, like, ayahuasca DMT trips.
Yeah.
All over the world, people report the same things. These, like, machine worker elves that, like,
but they
help
were
you out and do
also
stuff.
Trying to connect them to aliens as well.
Well, that's just it, is nobody really knows. You have this thing out there, so is it aliens? Is it interdimensional beings? Is it...
Or are you just being flooded by DMT in your own body somehow in a moment?
Or are all these things inside of you? Like, we have no idea. But that's what I'm saying. I don't have an opinion about it. I'm open to any of it, and it's cool.
I don't study it enough, but I'm open-minded. I mean, we'll just put it that way.
Yeah, I don't have an opinion. I don't care.
We did... So when we decided to do the podcast, I reached out to the Pennsylvania MUFON.
MUFON.
So that we could Good art.
I could go for some MUFON tonight, honey. MUFON sounds like a type of food.
It does sound like a type of food.
I could go for MUFON. It sounds like it's Asian. Hey, I could go for a MUFON bowl.
See, I'm just associating
MUFON bowl with noodles. Hey.
I'm associating it with Greek food, muffaletta.
See, I was associating like, what kind of noodles? MUFON noodles. MUFON chicken. Matter of fact, that might be a thing.
I don't know if it is.
May Fun is. That's real close.
Maybe that's what you're thinking of.
Well, I'm just saying, it's like one letter off. They probably got it.
So, but when you're talking about aliens, everybody has like the same similar kind of experience, right?
Well, that's what I think gets you is the stories that show similarity, because then it lends credibility to it.
Right, exactly. But is it like that? Not mass hysteria, but like, is it mass imprintation or whatever, where one stories become the normal, right? But they all seem to share one trait, which is that they're devoid of emotion. And so at the end of the last show, I was talking about how I really believe that these things could be, assuming that we're programmed, or that we're part of the sin. My cat wants in on this discussion. One of them does. Which one's that?
Gray.
Meowedith Gray. For those of you who haven't met her yet. But I honestly think that what if aliens are just humans minus their emotional programming? He's showing Gray to the audience for those of you who aren't watching. Like we talked about, ghosts potentially being like just leftover code, right? Well, what if aliens are just another program of humans that they decided to strip emotion out to see? Because emotion is the hardest thing to get programmed to the binary level.
This is what a lot of people speculate, is that the aliens are like the ones that are actually running the simulation, and so sometimes they have to like hard get into there and get like do whatever to try to like interfere with it.
Right.
It's not like, so, but they also, there's also the like position that they are like,
you gotta log in.
Take a pause right here. Pause for the cause. Gray's farting too, by the way. It stinks.
Gray's farting?
Yeah, but I went to pick her up.
That's why.
Or it might have been me. That aliens are us in the future, and that they're also running a simulation of the past because they're trying to get like it's like posited that something goes wrong in the future.
Yeah.
So they're trying to rerun the simulation so they can get back to some like genetic code to reset something, which is why they like abduct people and stuff, because they're trying to like harvest genetic code per se, because they're trying to get like back to a reset point for themselves as a species, which is just us, but like it's all future, like it's
That's
very.
Why I got a combination of Claires
crazy
assigned to me,
right?
Because they're trying to figure out which combination of Claires make the right human,
make the right Claire.
Because you can't have all the Claires together. If you have all the Claires together, you're like
Rogue from the X-Men.
Yeah, you're like superhuman.
Yeah.
I don't want to be superhuman. I'm partially super. But so obviously we always talk about movies. I'm not into alien research per se, but I love alien movies.
But yet you don't like the movie Alien.
I don't.
Or Aliens.
I don't.
You don't like the series.
Mm-hmm.
So you claim to like alien movies, yet you don't like the one movie that's like titled after the word that you're talking about. It's being like, I don't like scary movies, but I don't like the movie Scary Movie.
I love the movie Don't put words in my mouth.
No, I'm just
Don't
teasing.
start any rumors, please.
But no, I do. I'm with you, Bill. But although I do like the Alien movies, but I also love other Alien movies too. But let's talk about the best Alien movie, Paul.
Paul, hands down. Paul is the best Alien movie God never made. Like,
right.
I love that movie.
It has everybody in it. It's so funny. Go watch it.
It's the best. I love that movie. It's hilarious. Fucking Kristen Wiig is all of them, like the whole cast.
Yeah, you can't even narrow
You can't
it
even
down.
pick a.
There's too
favorite.
many. It's so good.
But my favorite are the Men in Black series as well.
Men in Black.
Like
E.T.
I watch those over and over and over again. E.T.
I love E.T.
Cocoon. I love
Cocoon
movies. Fire in the Sky. That's a scary.
That's scary as shit, dude. When I saw that, I was like, Fire in the Sky was the first time that I heard of alien abduction.
It was the first time I was actually ever terrified of aliens.
As a kid, I was like, Fire in the Sky. This guy got abducted by alien. Like what? Like this was new concept to me, so it was very scary.
And
I was like, I didn't even know aliens could take you. Now I have another thing to be afraid of.
I think it probably wasn't the first time that I ever saw a man cry on a movie, but it's the first time that I ever saw a man cry in a movie and felt his pain. Like I was terrified for him.
The guy that plays Travis Walton in that movie also played in another great movie, The Cutting Edge, as a figure skater.
So corny. So corny.
But I'm saying that guy was on his game in the early 90s. The Cutting Edge and then Fire in the Sky. What?
You cannot talk about all this without talking about the Mandela Effect.
Mandela.
See, I'm one of those people. I firmly believe that I knew he died before he died.
See, I didn't. You even asked me. When you first heard of it, like the actual effect, like that it had a name, you asked me about it and you're like, do you remember it? And I'm like, yeah, I remember him getting out of prison and doing it. Because it was like a big deal when I was in school. We got out of prison and they like everybody celebrated. And he won like Time Person of the Year.
But think about it this way. For the people that are my age, which is slightly older than you, it was right at the emergence of the internet being something that you could have information at your fingertips. But if you weren't watching the news and you weren't on the internet, there's a good chance you missed it, which is why it may not have jumped out to you, right? So was I just busy with other things at that point?
Right, and you just moved on, right.
But when I read the article, I was like, yeah, I remember when he died in prison, right? So then I started reading some of the other cases, and the Berenstain Bears
Berenstain Bears.
So that is very, very, very personal for me.
Me too, personal. Because I remember.
Because when I was in 5th grade,
right,
I was in the Gifted Talented program.
I don't really even know. First off, let's talk about what the conspiracy is. Because I don't even really know what the real answer is and what's supposedly the effect. So let's talk about that first. The Mandela Effect theory on the Berenstain Bears is that it wasn't
Stain, S-T-A-I-N.
That's how it really is?
That's how it is now.
It is Berenstain. Okay. That's how I think that I remember it, but I can't be 100. But go ahead, now share your story.
Right. So the Mandela Effect theory is that it was Baron, S-T-E-I-N, like Stein.
Right.
Stain, right? Steen. So when I was in 5th grade, I used to go once a week or whatever and read to the kindergartners. And I remember, and I was a spelling bee champion. I was a perfect reader. I was reading at like a 3rd grade level when I was in kindergarten. So my concept of language was very clear to me. And I distinctly remember asking my teacher before, she's like, do you got the book? Are you ready to go? Did you practice? And I was like, yeah. I was like, I have one question. Is this pronounced Berenstain or Berenstein? And I only would have asked that
if it was E-I-N.
Now,
we also need to go back too, because I totally realized we also didn't even say exactly what the Mandela Effect is for people that don't know. There might be people that don't know.
There might be.
Because there's a lot of people that...
Well, if you haven't heard of it, you are prepare yourself to go down a rabbit hole.
Right, if you do look it up. But basically what it is that a collective group of people remember something different than what is now accepted to be the general history of something.
Right.
So, like, for example, a group of people remember Nelson Mandela dying in prison, but history has it that he did not. He got out later in the 90s, yada, yada, yada. Or, like she just said with the Berenstain Bears, people remember it being Berenstain Bears,
well, even
but they remember it being spelled E-I-N instead of A-I-N.
Right, that's exactly it.
And there's other ones. There's ones where people remember Sinbad being in a movie where he was a genie.
I remember that too.
It was called something or other. I don't even remember. But there's a whole thing about that. But there's 100 of these things.
Right.
But these are some of the more popular ones. But you just had personal experience with Berenstain Bears.
Yeah.
Which now that it's like, I feel like it was EIN now that you say that. Like.
Right. And their son, I think, or daughter came out and like said no.
It's always been Stain.
Right. It's
like,
just so weird though.
It is very weird. But, and we've run into numerous other ones like that.
Well,
where
so we do have one example. And so the common thought behind the Mandela Effect is that you're shifting from one timeline to an alternate
right, that timeline, you're timeline jumping.
Right. And so if that is the case, we both experienced something of I don't know if it was a timeline shift or a glitch in the matrix at the same time. Do you remember what happened that day when you were up in your office?
Oh, yeah. So I was sitting there and I threw something away. I don't remember what it was that I threw away. But
she's funny.
I threw something away into the trash can. I watched it land in the trash can. Like I saw it laying in the bin.
Right.
And it was down in. It wasn't like the trash was up to the brim. It was down below the rim.
Right.
And then, like, I looked back, like, 5 seconds later. Or, no. Did I look at... I can't remember if I left the room and came back in. Or if I saw that and then left the room. And that's when you're like, something weird just happened to me. But either way, the next time I looked back there, what I had just thrown away was laying on the ground. As if and I know that I didn't bounce out. Like, I tested all the scenarios. I pulled it out, tested if it could have possibly ricocheted out. But, like, I watched it it was laying in the trash can.
Right.
And then I went over to your room and I was like, something really weird just happened.
And at the exact same time that he was experiencing that, I was getting something off of my closet shelf. And when I was pulling a purse down because I was switching out my purses. And when I pulled the purse down, one of the pieces of my shelving unit that was spare flew off the top shelf and landed on the floor. And I didn't want I wanted to remember to pick it up, but I was still fooling with the closet.
Right.
So I took my foot and pushed it out away so that it would be... so that I would remember, and I pushed it to the middle of the floor with my foot. I looked down a second later and it wasn't there at all. And it was completely underneath the bottom shelf of the closet, like completely underneath. It's like I never even did that move to move it.
Right, that's so weird.
It was
so
crazy.
Weird.
So, and that happened to us at the same time, so we believe that there was a time jump.
A time skip.
Time skip, yeah.
Time skip.
Yeah, which is, the glitch of the matrix, deja vu.
The butterfly effect.
The butterfly effect. Oh, I love that movie so much, but it's terrifying.
But yeah, it ties right into that, like jumping timelines. You know what I mean? Like skipping, like
right.
One little thing. It goes back to classic time travel scenario. Change one thing, it gets all fucked up.
Yes, yeah, I love it.
It's like it gets all messed up. It all goes back to basic time travel theory. So,
let me see, what else do we got to talk about? I mean, that's about it.
Yeah, I mean, and we even talked about how it all ties together, like at Skinwalker Ranch and places like that. So, and just even we talked about like Western Pennsylvania being a hotspot for cryptid sightings. UFO sightings. I'm sure if you dug into it, poltergeist activity. But like, because I think there's certain areas that are more charged up, if these are interdimensional beings, the fact of the matter is we have no clue what's going on out there. Something's going on like at the subatomic level, particle physics, the Big Bang Theory, cryptids cross-shaped, jumping through time. We don't know. But it's somehow all connected, but it's fun to look into.
It is fun to look into. Do you have a quote for this week?
No, I don't.
I'm going to do the quote. Let's take one more pause.
Betty Youngman, take my wife, please.
Okay. What are you just doing?
Nothing.
Okay, so this quote is kind of weird because I don't feel like anybody is ever trying to take my man, and that's no disservice to you because
This is good.
This is no disservice to you at all, babe. I love you, but I think bitches see me and they back off. I don't know what it is.
I don't think people are trying to get
Jolene knows if she wants my man, she can take him. No, I'm joking. So I will leave you guys with this quote from one Miss Iconic Loretta Lynn.
Loretta Lynn.
You've been making your brags around town that you've been loving my man. But the man I love, when he picks up trash, he throws it in a garbage can. What?